Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Another episode of the Skywalking with Wetz podcast. We're talking NBA playoffs, man. And if you watched my last video on Facebook, we kind of dug in and gave my predictions for the last round, the conference semifinals. But here we are. We're going to give my predictions for this first round. And just so y'all know, today is May 22nd. So games have already been played in the Western Conference Finals. We had some technical difficulties with the video I put out last time. Couldn't upload it, so we're re-ripping it today. We're getting after it today. And then here we are. We're getting absolutely after it. So, first game. Hold on, let me bring that back. Not the first game. My first point I want to make is it is a breath of fresh air to have 4 teams left in the NBA playoffs who have won a combined, one NBA championship in the last 50 years. When was the last time the New York Knicks won a championship? The last time the New York Knicks won a championship was in 1973, and they've only won 2 championships, 1970 and in 1973. Outside of them, the Pacers have never won a championship in the NBA era. Neither have the Thunder or the Supersonics or the Timberwolves in the modern NBA. So, it's a breath of fresh air to see the New York Knicks with the rowdiest and craziest fans in the whole NBA go against the Indiana Pacers. Small state Indiana. But if you know anything about Indiana, Indiana's built, and the backbone of Indiana is built off of basketball. Indiana Hoosier, Indiana's it's a basketball state, dude. So you know they got some rowdy fans. They have a good fan base, and it's a nice organization. But they haven't been here too often. Been in the NBA Finals, I would say. They were in the conference finals last year. They've been to a couple conference finals in the last 10, 15 years, the PG era. But then you have the Thunder, this young Thunder team who's, again, a bunch of studs. They've gotten draft pick after draft pick through trades, they traded PG, they traded all these guys, and that PG for Shea and Gallinari and all those first-round picks, it played in their favor because look at the roster they have now. They got Shea out of the deal, who today, or last night I should say, was just named the 2025 Kia MVP. They got Chet Holmgren, drafted Chet Holmgren, drafted Lou Dort, drafted Jalen Williams. They're a problem. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a problem, and they rebuilt. They didn't go and get these big free agents. They built from within, so I really respect that. And then you got the Timberwolves. They drafted a lot of this roster, but at the same time, they've made some smart moves. That Cat and Julius Randle move in the summer, it blew everybody's mind. Couldn't believe it. Why would either team want to trade those guys? But both teams won the trade. I would say both teams won the trade because Cat and Gobert just wasn't a great fit. Cat was having to play the power forward. Cat needs to be playing center. Cat's not a power forward. He does stretch the floor out, but him and Gobert, as you saw Cat's numbers kind of go down, sharing the boards with Gobert, even some of his numbers. But then Julius Randle comes in, who's a true power forward. He can play the center if need be, but I think his natural position's power forward. He comes in, and it took them a little bit to kind of get the ball rolling. Randle had a little slow start, but he's been absolutely on fire these last 2 months or so. And then you look at Cat in New York, or as he said the other day, New York, putting on his accent. Cat's the ultimate code switcher. He's everything they needed, a scoring big who can also rebound. He wasn't injured throughout the season. They had a tough time with injuries. And the question is, and the question I've been saying is Cat going to take the Knicks over the top? Because the Knicks were in this same position last year against the Pacers. I believe it was in the semifinals, but against the Pacers. And they lost to the Pacers, right? Julius Randle wasn't healthy at all. They didn't have Julius Randle, for sure. But is Cat the guy to take them over the top? And now here they are in the conference finals. And if they make it to the finals, Cat was enough to take them over the top. They got Brunson, they got Mikal, they got OG, they got all those guys, but they made this big blockbuster move of a guy who was a big part of their identity in New York. I feel like Julius Randle fit the New York swag and identity perfectly. They got rid of him. They bring in Cat, and look what they've done. They beat the Pistons, the Celtics, and here they are now down 0-1 to the Pacers. Cat had a great game last night. Brunson had an amazing game, but boy, Tyrese Haliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Nesmith, the whole squad came up big last night for the Pacers. If anyone watched that game, they watched Pacers versus Knicks last night. You got a treat. What a ball game. So, little context for me is I was kicking it. You know, I was feeding the baby. I was changing diapers, doing all these things, and it was a pretty back and forth game for a little bit, but then the Knicks went up 17 points, 20 points at one point, and I was like, bedtime routine with these babies, man. You got to keep this bedtime routine. You got to keep the routine. So I was like, okay, let's just go watch. This game's over. Let's go wash the baby and get her ready for bed. And we give the baby a bath, feed her bottle, get her dressed, do all that stuff. And I get on Twitter and someone said, Nesmith's going crazy. He's going stupid. And then I was like, okay, got the baby down, put her to bed. I got her to sleep. I was like, I'm going upstairs to watch the end of this game. I go upstairs, and boy, was I in for one. I'm so happy I went back upstairs because the ending of that game was phenomenal. Knicks were up maybe 5 points. Here come the Pacers. Haliburton hits a three. Knicks go down and miss. Tie ball game. Pacers go down and score. Oh, Knicks come down. They're up 1 or 2 off a free throw. Side note. Okay, actually, I'll get to that here in a second. Just back and forth, back and forth. The Knicks up 3. They missed some free throws. I think Cat missed some free throws. I don't remember exactly who it was. Or maybe Brunson hit free throws to go up 3. Pacers ball going down. And here comes Knicks up 2. Pacers going down, looking to tie or win the game. Okay, here comes Haliburton. He goes down, trying to get to the rim. He has nothing there. He sprints to the 3-point line, throws up a shot. It looks good while it's in the air. It hits the back of the rim. It pops a mile high into the sky. You're like, oh my God. It was like I was watching that ball in slow motion. If you're a basketball fan or you're a shooter, I was a shooter. I had a strap. I'm just going to say it. You're a shooter and you see a ball, you know when a ball's good or not, right? But the way that came off the backboard, I was like, oh my God, that's either going to fall right or left. And because the depth perception, I'm looking at the hoop side, right? That's either going to go right or left, or that's going to go straight down into the rim. There's no in between of those three. It's not going to hit the rim again. It went straight up, and it went straight down. And Haliburton, I want to know who Haliburton pointed at. He pointed someone over at the Knicks bench, someone over there. He hit the Reggie Miller, and I was going crazy. I was like, what is going on? This stuff's insane. But then his foot was on the line. Haliburton's foot was on the line. I'm like, uh-oh. Was the choke celebration a little premature? And I was FaceTiming a friend, and I was like, Haliburton's going to get cooked on the internet if they lose the game, and he hit that, and they ended up in the game. But overtime was also great. Overtime was back and forth, back and forth. It was basically a game that whoever had the ball last was going to win the game. And Pacers were up 1 with about maybe 20 seconds left, 22, 23 seconds left. Knicks are trying to play defense. Obi Toppin, he gets a free lane to the rim. He slams it. 15 seconds left. 3-point game. Knicks call a timeout. Knicks inbound it. Brunson goes, shoots a 3 to tie. Air balls. I think it was Mikal or OG gets a rebound, kicks it out of Cat. Cat had it, dude. Cat had it. Cat could have had his MSG playoff moment to become a legend. He could have had his Jeremy Lin or Carmelo Anthony moment. Hit it, tie game, forcing double overtime, a clutch moment. And if you hit a clutch moment like that in MSG as a Knick, or honestly, whoever in MSG, but as a Knick especially, you're going to be a legend forever. Nobody will ever forget that moment ever, especially if you go and win the game. If you lose the game, I don't know, maybe a little different, but who knows? They miss. Pacers get the ball, they win. So the Pacers come back from like 17 or 20 points in like the fourth quarter, I believe, maybe the third. I believe it was the fourth quarter. Come back and win. And what did I tell y'all the last time I was on? What did I tell y'all the last time I was on here? I picked Knicks in 6. Knicks are 5 or 6. That's who I picked, right? But I said, you can't sleep on this Pacers team. They move the ball well. They play good enough defense. They have scores. They may not have the star power that New York has, but they have enough. And they're a team that you have to bury and keep your foot on the throat the whole game. Otherwise, they're going to come back and give you a run for your money and make things scary. And that's exactly what happened last night. That's exactly what happened last night. People need to put some respect on Tyrese Haliburton. I don't know why the league's hating, but saying this guy's the most overrated player in the league is absolutely insane. And he's proved that throughout this playoffs. And I was thinking about this earlier. I was thinking, you know, when you're labeled as overrated and, you know, the crowd's chanting it, you know, your peers think it, all that kind of stuff. There's really 2 avenues you can go. And have that make you nervous and eat you alive, like mentally, from a mental standpoint, or you use that as fuel to prove everybody wrong. And in the NBA, and a guy like Tyrese Haliburton, he's probably been called overrated his whole life. From high school to college, getting chanted overrated and things like that. And to be at the NBA level, I think you have to have that ability to use it as motivation. Some guys might not have it, but you can tell Tyrese Haliburton definitely has it because that poll came out. He was voted the most overrated player in the league by his peers. And he's probably, and I would argue, maybe the best player in the playoffs thus far. His team is the best team in the playoffs statistically this far. But Tyrese Haliburton, and the funny thing is, a lot of the people who voted Tyrese Haliburton as the most overrated, guess what? Guess what? They're at home. They're in Cancun. They're on the beach. They're not competing for anything. Right? So how can you say the cat that's still playing and just beat the Knicks, him and his squad, he had like 30 and 10, 31 and 10 or something? He's showing out, and he's the most overrated? I don't know about that. Put some respect on him. But the Knicks had it in the bag. The Knicks had this game in the bag, but again, you can't play with your food, especially if it's the Pacers, because they're that gritty. They're that scrappy. They're never going to leave. They're never going to leave. You got to bury them alive. You got to continue to bury them. You can't mess around because they will come back and beat you and at least make the game scary. The Knicks did exactly that. They let the Pacers hang around, you know, some turnovers, some bad shots, some missed shots, maybe relaxing a little bit, knowing you're up 20, you can give a couple layups up, whatever it may be. The Knicks had it in the bag, dude. And I said this in the last video too. I said, I still think the Knicks should win this series. That's why I picked the Knicks to win this series. Do I want the Knicks to win? I like Mikal. I like Cat. I like Brunson. But I think I'd rather see the Pacers win this series. Do I think they will? I don't know yet. I think the Knicks are the rightful favorite. But I mentioned in my last video, bring it full circle, I questioned, are the Knicks, are they cursed? Are they a cursed franchise? Are they a cursed franchise when they get in these positions? Because it's New York. First off, it's New York. there's so much pressure playing for a team in New York. Look at the Yankees. Look at the Giants. Look at the Jets. Look at the who is it? Can't even think of their hockey. The Rangers. Look at the Knicks, the Nets. They're kind of like the redheaded step cousin, but there's a lot of pressure that comes for playing in New York, and so I think that definitely plays a role. So when you're in these big moments, you feel it. You got Timothy Chalamet courtside. You got Ben Stiller courtside. You got Spike Lee courtside. You got the You might have more stars in MSG when they're competitive, and especially in the playoffs, than you might in LA. Like, New York fans are the most blue blood fans you could ever find, along with like teams like the Lakers. There's nobody else. The Knicks, they haven't won a chip in 50 plus years. But there's still always that expectation because it's a New York team, and I know those New York fans. I'm a Yankees fan. It's a different breed. You see how they're parading outside of the arena after a big win, after a series closeout. They're savages. They're savages towards the other team, but the thing about it is they're savages towards their own team as well. They are savages to their own team as well. They don't care. If you're playing like buns, they'll let you know you're playing like buns. So, this series, I said Knicks in 5 or 6. This might be 6 or 7. If Tyrese Haliburton, Pascal, and the boys, Neesmith, those guys, Nemhard, Mathurin, if those guys keep doing, like, Neesmith had 30 last night. He was going crazy in that third and fourth. And again, those are the players you got to look out for. Brunson's going to get his, Haliburton's going to get his, Pascal, Cat, those guys. But you got to look at the Mikal Bridges. You got to look at the Mathurins, the Neesmiths, the Miles Turners, the guys who aren't really the focal point of the franchise. But those are the guys that are going to take you over the top. And so I think this could go 6-7. I'm not sure. I think Knicks should win this series. I really do think the Knicks should win this series. But the Pacers, again, you got to bury them alive. That's going to be a great series. It is going to be an absolutely great series. So then we got the other one, OKC up 1-0 right now on the Timberwolves. And I predicted this. I said, don't be surprised if the Thunder win Game 1 because they just came off of Game 7, right? The Timberwolves have been chilling a little longer, haven't played a game in maybe a week or so, because we have to wait for those other series to close out. Low rust, they had to travel there, yada, 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 yada. But the Timberwolves look good to start. They really did. The Thunder started off a little slow. The Timberwolves looked great to start. Julius Randle was going crazy. I think he had like 4 threes in the first quarter or the first half or something like that. It looked like, okay, the boys are here. But then that Shea whistle started to kick in, and OKC kind of put it on the Timberwolves. But one thing I noticed is Ant and Julius Randle after the game didn't seem too bothered about it. But when I say the Shea whistle happened is, I know there's a lot of people out there that say, and this goes for Brunson too, kind of like a double-edged sword. So there's a lot of cats out there saying, oh, Shea wasn't even top 30 in free throw attempts this year. Okay. That's fine. I think that is a fair argument to make. But I think what people are mostly frustrated with is the manner in which he gets to the free throw line. Right? Really looking for the foul. Right? You can't put an arm on him because he'll wrap it up. Same with Brunson. Brunson took Neesmith's arm yesterday, wrapped it in his arm, and hit himself with Naismith's arm. And, you can't... So, okay, I can't touch him, right? Now he has me. If I put a little body into him, he's going to bump into me, fall down, and shoot it up, and he's going to be shooting free throws no matter what. So, the amount of free throws or the times Shea got to the line might not be high, but it's how he gets to the line, right? I would say he doesn't play through contact, but he also does. Same with Brunson. They take a little bump, they'll start falling, then they'll shoot it, and they're like masters at it. But they don't go through anybody. I watched skinny little Tyrese, not little, but skinny Tyrese Haliburton. I watched him go through OG Anunoby with the body, finish at the rim. Right? Like, that's what people want to see, but it's just the foul baiting is insane. Like, some of the fouls that Shea gets, it's like, come on, man. Like, what happened to the NBA? What happened to the NBA coming out and saying, hey, we're going to start to crack down on these flops and these unnatural movements? That doesn't exist. They never did it because it's just some of these most unnatural shots. Like, a guy's playing defense on me, I'm going left, but then I shoot my body into his body to shoot a shot that I normally wouldn't shoot. But I know I'm going to get contact and get the foul call. That's what's making people mad. The offense is initiating that contact. The defense, basketball is a physical game. You're playing defense, you're moving with your guy, right? There's contact there, but it's not illegal contact. But it's when they go in, then offense initiates the contact, goes up and shoots. That's where the problem is for me. And I think that's where people get mad and call Shea a foul, a free throw merchant. And he actually got flamed on live television of it. But, you know, Shea had a good game. Shea's still a great player. I like Shea. But he is a free throw merchant. So's Brunson. But at the same time, I would say, well, you look around the NBA, flopping didn't start with these guys. James Harden, LeBron, those guys really kind of got this thing going. Ginobili back in the day, he was the ultimate flopper. You look around and be like, wow, these guys are doing it. They're getting away with it. Their teams are winning because of it. Why don't I do that? Right? And if you're a star in the NBA, not even a superstar, if you're a star in the NBA, you're going to get that whistle. But if you're not going to get that whistle. So I understand why they do it. I do. If everyone else is doing it and getting the advantage, why not me? But at the same time, it's kind of like, come on, man. You know, like, I don't know. Basketball is different. And I think that's why people are kind of drawn away from the NBA is because things like that fly. But anyways, game one, Timberwolves ended up kind of going downhill in the second half. The Thunder started playing really good defense. Anthony Edwards didn't have his best game. Rudy Gobert, I defended Rudy Gobert right here on the pod. He put up 2 points, 3 rebounds. The Thunder, you know, they're just the hot team right now in terms of they just played 7 games like 2-3 days ago. 2-3 days before this game, maybe 2 days before this game. And then the Timberwolves have been resting, which I think at the end of the day, I think the Thunder need to win this series in 4 or 5. Because if it goes 6 or 7, the Timberwolves will be the more fresh team. The team more ready to go, more healthy, bearing any kind of other injuries that happen throughout the series. But I think the Thunder need to win in 4 or 5 because if the Timberwolves extend it to 6 or 7, I think the Timberwolves are definitely the favorites. And so I picked the Timberwolves in my last video. I picked the Timberwolves in this series, and I'm going to stick by that. I'm going to go Timberwolves in 6 or 7. Timberwolves in 6 or 7. Timberwolves are going to get game 2 tonight. Bank it. 5-22-25. Timberwolves are going to win game 2 tonight in OKC. They're going to go back to the crib, and they're going to have 2 shots to win 2 in a row. Right? I can see both games being split, but then I can see them going back to OKC. Timberwolves need to win that one, then go back to the crib. Right? Don't want a game 7 in OKC. Those fans are amazing. But I still got Timberwolves 6 or 7. I'm going to stand by that because I think Ant is him. And after they win this series and the Timberwolves go to the NBA Finals, we're looking at Anthony Edwards in a completely different light because whoever comes out of the West is beating whoever comes out of the East. I hope it's the Pacers. I wouldn't mind it's the Knicks. I think the Knicks will win the series. They have everything they need. But whoever comes out of the West is going to win. It's going to be a great series no matter which 4 of these teams, which 2 of these 4 teams make it to the finals. It's going to be a great finals. But I think the teams out of the West are the better teams, in my opinion. Deeper. They have everything you need, shooting, defense, shot blocking, all of that. The Knicks have that too. Pacers have that too. But I think teams out in the West are a little more deep. And the stars on those teams are a little better than the ones out East. So I'm going to go Timberwolves in 6 because Anthony Edwards is him. After he wins his first ring this year, he's not just top 10. Anthony Edwards is top 5. All right? Ant-Man is the truth. He said it. He said he's the truth. And I agree. I think Anthony Edwards is the truth. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. But those are my predictions for this round. I'll probably drop a couple videos before these rounds are done and the NBA Finals starts. But I appreciate you guys getting on here, tuning in. Thank you. If you see this on Facebook, please like the video. Please follow the page. If you see this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. And also, either platform, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're thinking. Am I tripping? Because I know not everyone agrees, and that's okay. We can all have our opinions. But these are my picks. It's going to be 2 great series. I'm happy to be here. Let me know. And I will be going live after the games. So get on my Instagram page. I'll be going live. We can chat it up, talk during the game, whatever you need to do. All right. Peace.